start just by drawing everyone's attention to how full the Tuolumne River is behind us. This has been an extraordinarily wet year, and what a difference from just a couple years ago. But we know the next drought is just around the corner, and that's why we're here. Seeing these incredible differences in our water, in our reservoirs, our rivers, it's not a surprise to any of us gathered here today. Rainfall fluctuates wildly from year to year in the Central Valley. In fact, California has the most variable annual rainfall of any state in the country. The highest highs and the lowest lows. Because of that, we're locked into this boom and bust cycle on water. Our drought 2012 to 2016 was the driest period in the state's 163 years of recorded rainfall. But this year, as of February, 18 trillion gallons of water have fallen in California. Much of it going out to the drain, out to the ocean. Our water policy hasn't been designed to manage the increasing extremes that we're having to deal with. We haven't made the investments we should have made decades ago, so in a year like this one, the opportunity to save and store our water is going to go to waste. And that's what we're trying to fix. That's why we spent several months getting input directly from the folks here and across the Central Valley. We combined all of our ideas into this bill. That's going to take critical steps to addressing all of our water needs. The Securing Access for the Central Valley and Enhancing Water Resources Act, a little bit of a mouthful. We call it the Save Water Resources Act. And this is a solution that's going to allow us to capture and store our water supplies during booms, years like this one, and preserve it through innovation and smart investments to prepare for the next bust. I'm going to run through exactly what this bill is going to accomplish, because it's going to do quite a lot. First, let's talk about storage. It's pretty obvious that you have highly variable rainfall. You need to be able to store water in the good times to make it through the bad. But the devil's in the details. We need more capacity, anyone can tell you that. We've got less than 50 million acre feet of storage and surface storage in California right now. Current storage levels didn't cut it through the last drought, and they won't make it through the next one. The good news is there are 4 ongoing projects right here in the Central Valley and statewide that are going to increase our water capacity by over 2 million acre feet. We've got sites, we have Del Puerto Canyon, Los Vaqueros, San Luis, all in the works. But they've been held up by the slow pace of feasibility studies by the Bureau of Reclamation. Washington needs to get its act together, cut the red tape, and move on these projects. That's why our bill is going to require the Bureau of Reclamation to expedite these 4 specific projects in an environmentally sound way, because you can achieve both. And if our bill passed today, these projects could move ahead so that we don't look at wet years like this one and wonder why we're not acting sooner. We also know we need to invest in surface storage and innovative projects that are going to help our cities provide clean drinking water. Turlock is working on an important project to do just that. I don't want to steal Mayor Bublak's thunder, so I'll just let her to go into more detail on it, which, we all know what it does. It takes water from the Tuolumne River and provides safe drinking water to our community through treatment. And my bill is going to make sure that cities like Turlock have even more federal support to make sure that project is a reality by making nearly $150 million in affordable low-interest loans available for projects like that. And when we think about storage, we can't just think about what's going to go on above ground. We've also got to be thinking about what's going on below our feet. Groundwater is an area with literally untapped potential for storage. We don't even really know how much capacity we have below the ground. We're even the best places to go to recharge. And we lack critical infrastructure to get projects and water to these prime locations. My bill is going to require the Bureau of Reclamation to get in the game and help our farmers and water users identify the best recharge locations and make millions of dollars available for infrastructure. But saving our water is absolutely critical, but it's not enough. We've got to be able to preserve the supplies we're going to build and find new sources so we don't fall into the trap, the same old trap of taking our water from someone else. That's why we need groundbreaking new ideas. My bill is also going to generate these ideas by creating a new prize, the X Prize, a cash incentive for innovative water projects. Competitions unleash the power of the private sector and have led to the invention of canned food, the first transatlantic flight, and the creation of the commercial spaceflight industry. Our bills are going to make sure that people get moving on these new ideas that we can scale up quickly to make sure we're addressing the water needs of our future. Investing even more in recycling could increase the water supply here in California by up to 2.3 million acre feet by 2030. It's a lot of water. which is why my bill increases funding for a federal program called Water Smart tenfold, from $50 million to $500 million. That program helps places like the Central Valley where cities and agricultural communities could come into conflict over water. Instead of fighting each other, Water Smart encourages the development of a variety of projects, like the North Valley Recycling Program, which takes potential flashpoints and turns them into opportunities to work together. But that's not the only big investment our bill is going to make. We need more funding, new ideas, because we've been left behind by Washington. 2 years ago, the average investment in water infrastructure projects from the federal government was 75%. That was the federal government's share. Today, it's less than 5%. It's wild. It's crazy. That's why my bill is going to create a one-of-a-kind water infrastructure fund. It's going to set aside $300 million for storage, reclamation, and reuse, and Water Smart programs. That's going to put some muscle behind all the programs that we're actually talking about here. The lack of investments here in the Central Valley is an indication of how much work I have to do to educate other elected officials about the needs of our farmers and of our people here in the Valley. And that's a big part of my job, letting people in Washington know that there's more to California than San Francisco or Los Angeles. But my bill aims to set the tone and the path forward for the Central Valley that doesn't lead us to believing we just need to take that water from someone else. The fastest way to go from being the fruit and nut basket of the world to a dust bowl is if we don't act now to actually strengthen the Central Valley's water system. If we had passed this bill 20 years ago, today we'd be looking at completed reservoirs like Canyon. We'd be seeing more productive groundwater recharge operations, more recycling plants like North Valley. We'd have more innovation and investments in next generation water technology, and we'd ensure that no matter what community you live in, you have access to safe drinking water. In other words, if we passed this bill 20 years ago like we should have, we wouldn't be seeing a wet year like this one as a complete missed opportunity to invest in our future needs.